This week on Morning Mika, knocked down but not out.
In moments like this, the true test of our character is how resilient and persistent we are to pursue the future that we all can see. Do we throw up our hands or do we roll up our sleeves? So we must stay in the fight, because that is the responsibility, in my opinion, that comes with the privilege of being an American.
That was Kamala Harris addressing her supporters last December. We all probably remember that, and promising to continue the fight following Donald Trump's presidential win. Now, I know in this moment, many of you feel like you just want to put a blanket over your head and pretend this isn't happening. I've had friends text that to me and tell me that. We all have, because it all feels pretty ominous. The January 6th insurrectionists are now free. Tech billionaires seem to be the core of Trump's inner circle. And a guy named Stephen Miller is in a position to inject his own form of xenophobia into administration policy. Already seeing the impact of that. So it feels bad. I get it. We all do. But if there is one thing I have learned in politics and just in life, it's that when you get knocked down, you have to figure out your way back. That's what Kamala Harris was talking about. And so the big question is, what now? We've all been grappling with this. I'm Jen Psaki, taking over the anchor chair for Mika Brzezinski today. Mika joins us as a guest today alongside Symone Sanders Townsend and Huma Abedin. And today we're going to talk about picking yourself up from disappointment, whether it can be, you know, when your candidate loses. We've all experienced that. When you don't get a job or a promotion, we've all also experienced that. Or basically any type of setback in our professional and personal lives. I mean, it's a feeling I am personally very familiar with. I think it's true for all of you guys, too. And one of the things as I was thinking about this and we were talking about topics that I thought about was how much I admire how Mika, Symone, and Huma have each handled disappointment. And we've all experienced it in pretty public ways, in different ways, which is part of it, too.
Yep.
But, you know, it's about picking yourself up and figuring out how to move forward. So because it's so front and center for all of us, and I think for many people watching, I did want to just start with election night, because we all just digested that in different ways. And for me, I was anchoring the overnight from about 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Before Mika and Joe came on. Symone and I had spent many hours together on set earlier before that. And I ended up calling the race for Trump. And we do have some breaking news from the decision desk. NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president. And for so many of you watching right now, that news is, to say the least, a lot to digest. And in that moment, I felt like I just wanted to talk a little today about what was going through my head and ask you all to do a version of that as well, because for me, I mean, earlier in the night, we knew a little bit where the election was headed. We were seeing the data. We were watching Steve Kornacki. We were getting updates. So while I was waiting to take over for Rachel Maddow, what I was doing was thinking about what to say. And Alex Lubica, who actually got his start working for Mika and Joe, because it's all a full circle small family here. He's a great writer. He and I were in the green room, and we were drafting what I might say if we called the race, which people don't always know. That's sometimes what you do before you go on TV. Sometimes it's totally organic. But in the moment, we really wanted it to be thoughtful and sober, not panicked, because I feel, and I know you all feel, this kind of responsibility, as we all do, to be honest, but also keep it together in the moment, even though I clearly wanted a different outcome. And so when I finally did call the race, I ended up talking about my daughter and what I wanted to tell her. I acknowledged how many people were watching and what they may be feeling at the time. I wish I could have called her and told her that the first woman president had just been elected. I wish that. I won't be able to do that. But what I can do, what I can tell my daughter, and what I will tell my daughter, is that our roles as American citizens have never been more important than they are right now. I can tell her that there are still lots of good forces out there, forces for good in this country, and that they are going to be getting to work. So there was a panel you could see there on set with me, and one of the people on set was Anthony Coley, who I have been friends with for 20 years. You all probably know him. We did the Kerry campaign together 20 years ago, and he was sitting next to me, and I could feel him as I was talking, getting emotional in the moment. And it was this realization that it was going to take some time to digest. It wasn't going to happen immediately. I knew that in the moment, and I was just thinking about keep it together. You have a responsibility to people watching right now, not to get upset, not to lose it, but to be honest about how people were feeling. But I woke up the next morning and I knew, or one of the things that struck me or hit me was that I wanted to understand more about what had just happened and where things go from here. So for me, one of my ways I've dealt with it is it sparked this idea to launch a podcast that would be a forum to honestly talk about it with people who are willing to be candid and raw about what they think. We don't have all the answers. It's called The Blueprint. It's going to launch next month. But that's been a part of the effort to pick myself up. I know we've all had different mechanisms. And Mika, I just wanted to turn to you because you have been so professional, but also honest and raw on television for all of us for many years. We know how you feel about a lot of the issues that were at stake in the election. You picked up coverage less than 30 minutes after that race was called for Trump. How did you think about what you wanted to say on air at that moment?
You know, I've been in this business for 40 years, and the one thing I know how to do is, of all the things that I do, is my job. And the primary basic purpose function of my job is to inform. And so what I did was I to an extent, just pulled back a little bit and worked on informing people through this process. And, you know, I think that there are a lot of things we are still learning about how we cover this president and not falling into traps. And so I started thinking immediately about how I'm really going to have to look at how I inform as we move into the future. So for me, it was mostly about just basic mechanics. And for me, it was easy, the actual function of my job.
It's interesting because I think if people didn't have a moment of reflection, they're doing something wrong, and maybe they haven't done it yet. Let me ask you, Simone. I mean, you know the former vice president better than any of us, I think it's safe to say. You've had to talk about her loss on air. There are also a lot of women out there, and I reference this, you know, friends of mine who I run into are texting me saying basically, I want to hide under a blanket and I don't want to engage. I don't want to watch TV. I don't want to be involved in the process. I've already done my thing. I mean, what are you telling your friends who feel that way?
You know, look, first of all, I tell them I understand. Everyone, especially everyone who in the aftermath of the election said, oh, I'm not watching the news. I'm only watching Netflix. I'm like, oh, yeah. I too have watched Netflix, okay? But I understand it's a human thing. But I'm telling folks that, especially in the aftermath of the election, I told people to take their time. And, you know, if you are disappointed by the outcome, which a number of people were, if you felt like you gave it your all and you're just like, well, there's nothing we can do now, take your time. But also, my number one message to folks is that, look, politics is happening whether you participate or not. Things are happening whether you turn on your TV or not. Whether you choose to tune into the news or not, stuff is still going down. And one of the best things that you can do in this moment, if you care about your community, if you care about the issues, if you care about democracy, is to make sure that you are informed. I tell folks, don't overdo it, but like slowly ease your way back in. Yeah. And, you know, I had, on election night, I had not, obviously I hadn't spoken to the vice president that day, but I saw the second gentleman earlier that weekend because I interviewed him. And and we talked and he seemed excited, but there was something in my stomach that just said, I don't know. And perhaps it was my, you know, cautious, my optimistic but pessimistic, like, I don't know. I feel like we've been here before. And something in my spirit told me it ain't over till it's over. over, and I don't think it's a done deal. And so as it was happening on election night, I was one of the people who I was calling around, talking to folks, telling them what I'm hearing, and people were texting me like, "Oh no, you're not being positive," and I'm like, "I'm just trying to be honest."
Yeah.
And I think the best thing that we can do for people is be honest. And when I saw the vice president weeks after the election night, she told me that she appreciated all of our honesty, frankly, and the way that we all handled this election.
That's such a good point. That's how we keep our authenticity and keep trust. Huma, you know, there are echoes, of course, from 2016. I think a lot of people felt when your boss at the time, Hillary Clinton, lost to Trump, and that was obviously so personal for you. There are a lot of people who are feeling very personally about Kamala Harris's loss. Is there anything about how you move forward from there that you could give as advice to people who are having a hard time doing that right now?
You know, everything each of you said is resonating with me so deeply. And, you know, at its core, we all know that public service is a life of purpose and a life of intention. And I put all of us in that category, and Mika, you're in this bucket as well, because part of public service is informing people and delivering the truth to them. And that's something that you do intentionally. And so for me, I do remember in 2016, the very first words I heard when Hillary conceded at the Roosevelt Hotel and she walked outside, the very first words I heard was it your fault that she lost? And so I did take it very personally, and this notion of getting under the covers and wanting to live there was something I wanted to do. And I laughed when you said what happened was something you want to understand, because when Hillary started to write out that book, even though people wanted to, or her book explaining what happened in that election, even though people suggested, oh, we should say A Walk in the Woods or The Shining Light. And the truth was, trying to understand what happened was the most important thing, because there was no way we would figure out a path for the future without that. And to do it in community and to do it together. I spent so much of my days in the aftermath of that election. And, you know, Jen, I did not, you know, when that Comey letter, the now infamous Comey letter, came out 10 days before the election, I did not believe we would win. I did not think, after the onslaught of what had happened for 16 months every single day, and despite all that, still doing well in the polls, and then to see our internal analytics cratering basically every single day in those 10 days. It did not mean that I wasn't shocked on election night, and to have to be the one that connected the call with her and Trump. All of those things take something out of you personally. And the only way, you know, I healed was to do it in community, understanding what happened, and then approaching this election with this excitement, energy, and optimism. But to Simone's point, what she said about her experience, I remember being in DC the week before the election, you know, somebody on the outside showing some polling they had done, and the numbers weren't much tighter. So I was certainly triggered on election night, but the only way forward is trying to understand and trying to be positive. And this is the definition, I guess, of what resilience is. And to do things like this, like talking to other leaders who have a vision for the future, and staying optimistic about it and doing it together. And that's the only thing I can offer.
I've never talked to you about this, Huma. I just think it's just really powerful, given everything you went through after that election, that's your perspective. So let me just say that. I also just felt I really wanted to talk to all of you about professional disappointment too, because sometimes when you go through that, you feel like you're alone and you're the only one who's gone through professional disappointment, and we all have. For me, that was my journey to finally becoming the White House press secretary. I mean, I was runner-up, twice a bridesmaid, as they say, for the job. And when I didn't get it the second time, I was pretty embarrassed, which sounds like a funny thing to say, but I kind of thought I had a real shot. My friends and family and mentors did too. So when I didn't get the job, I felt like I had let everyone down, including myself. And I felt like people who were making the decision had seen faults in me that I had not recognized. So I felt embarrassed. And after it was announced, and this was, of course, many years ago, it was 2014, I had to go on a trip with then President Obama the next week. So he and his team had not selected me to be his press secretary, and I had to go on a foreign trip with him. And I remember calling my mother, because mothers give the best advice, and I was like, how can I do this? You know, I was working at the State Department at the time. That's why I had to go. I basically wanted to give myself a form of food poisoning, if that was possible, because I worried like everybody would treat me differently and feel sorry for me. Anyway, my mother gave me this piece of advice that stuck with me. She basically said, which I employ to this day, it takes two people to make it awkward. And I went on that trip.
Love it.
That's
You know,
good.
and I held, it's like a really good, there's my mom right there. I held my head high. She's a therapist. And I guess I kind of, what they weren't worried about, the people on Obama's team, was what I was worried about, was that it was embarrassing or that I was less than. They weren't thinking about it. They had way more important things to do. They were running the country. All of this was in my head. And it was a real lesson for me. And then, of course, 6 years later, I had the opportunity to do the job. I was more experienced, more confident in my own skin. I was older, and in many ways, it worked out better than it would have if I had not been passed over twice before. But I think about that a lot because we've all had professional disappointment. But Mika, you also have a story about personal failure and loss you wanted to share to just tee you up. Tell us about it.
Which one?
Anyone you choose.
Yeah, I've listen, failure's a part of life. And I think I'm definitely the oldest here, and so I have the most, but I would have had the most anyway. I think I've talked on this platform about my mental health crisis during the time that I was going through a divorce, failure. But the failure that had the clearest, I think, lessons that can help our viewers was actually getting fired. And I got fired, flat out rejected in a horrible, the most like the way you imagine it, just completely out of the blue kind of way. From CBS 20 years ago, I was at the top of my game, and it's like 39 years old. And it was a long fall to the ground, you know. And I have two tips that come out of that. It was very embarrassing, and it was personally discouraging, and it was heartbreaking. I loved it there. But tip number one, don't be afraid to be authentic when the chips are down, when you've been fired. I went home that day, and I was so horrified about it. I said to my kids, I have good news. I'm going to be home more. And my girls were 6 and 8. And Amelia was like, wait a minute, you can't leave CBS. That's the only reason the lady at the library likes me. And Carly looked...
Oh, no.
And Carly looked really sad. And the next day, the teacher called and said, I need you to come in. And of course, I was available. So I went racing in, and Carly was upset. And the teacher said, she told me you're leaving your job. And she was on the ground by her locker, and she looked up at me. I crouched down. I said, this is good news. I don't understand. And she said, Mom, and she had pools of tears in her eyes. She goes, you can't leave CBS. You love it so much. Aww. And I thought, oh my gosh, called out for being inauthentic big time. It was the first time I cried about it. It took a day or two with her. And the thing was, going into job interviews or talking to your kids, when something like this has happened, be authentic. It's A, it happens to a lot of people, and B, you don't have to wear it like some sort of scarlet letter. And when you do, it actually leads to more questions than answers. It's invalidating to the people around you. So be authentic when the chips are down. And then secondly, you know, the worst fails in life, and this is more a life truth, the worst fails in life can often be, and often are, the best thing that has ever happened to you. I couldn't find a job for the longest time. I missed working in this business. I ended up taking a job this very different, something I wouldn't have taken 10 years before, doing overnight cut-ins again, starting at the very beginning, like I started in this business, part-time, day rate. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been in place to audition for Morning Joe when the opportunity, so I was there. And sometimes you just got to put yourself out there, start any way you can, and not be mad about perhaps, you know, it shouldn't be exactly. You got to take what you can get when the chips are down and plow forward. And it did turn out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. It made me stronger. And I'm sitting here.
Yeah, and how many years into a very successful morning show?
I think
love
about
that.
19.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I would have never predicted this.
No, it's like it's an amazing, inspiring story. Thank you, Simone. You're the youngest of all of us, so to go to Mika's theme, maybe you've had the fewest failures, but I know you've been in some very high-profile jobs. I know you've had some. So tell us about what you learned about personal failure over the years.
You know, as I was listening to you all, I think two things that I've really learned. First is that what is for you will not miss you. And you have to trust that the opportunities that come your way and then the opportunities that, you know, you think you really want but that miss you, that what is for you will not miss you. So if you didn't get it, it is not for you. And I this is something I've talked about with my therapist for a long time, because I am the youngest here. I just turned 35 years old in December. And because I'm so young and I've had all these experiences as a young in my career, I was 25 when I became Senator Sanders' national press secretary on his 2016 campaign. Wow. And I have actually not had a professional experience, as I said to my therapist the other day, where I just didn't do something and do well. Like I get in, I figure it out, and by all the metrics, I hit the metrics. And it might not look like what I wanted it to look like going in, but I know that I did well. And to be honest, when I came to MSNBC after leaving the White House and I started my show, I felt like I struggled a little bit. This is not something I had done before. And when I got the call, I think it was last summer actually, that I wasn't going to have my show anymore, but we're going to do this new thing called The Weekend, I was actually very disappointed in myself because I felt like I did not do well. I jumped out to start this new thing, and look at me failing. And like I just told y'all, what is for you will not miss you. And sometimes the thing you think you want is not the thing that you need. And, I'm a praying person, so I believe that God is in control at the end of the day. And this experience with The Weekend and with Michael and Alicia has been absolutely amazing. It has actually exceeded all of my expectations. And a friend said to me recently, it's not failure. It's just you try these things and it doesn't work out. And as young people, particularly for all the young millennials out there who feel like we have to go and get it and do it right now, as Mika always says, it gets greater later. Okay.
Long runway.
It is a long runway. And also we have to experience things and try new things. And we're not going to always be the best at everything we do right away, but that is a part of learning. That is a part of life. And it is a journey that I have actually been just very, grateful for. I used to think I wanted to work for Maxine Waters. My first job in Washington, D.C., I wanted to be her press secretary on financial services, and Maxine Waters did not hire me. She told me I needed some technical writing experience to come work for her. And I was crushed, but that no turned into me working for this organization that did global trade work. I was their press person, and that led me to the Bernie Sanders work, which led me directly to, me being on television, which led me to working on the Biden campaign, which led me to the White House, working for the vice president and the president, and it led me here. So you just never know how it's going to work out for you.
It's such a good. I got passed over for Ed Markey's comms director job a long time ago. I've obviously gotten over it, but it worked out okay for us, Simone.
We're all right,
okay.
Jen. We're okay.
We're all right. Huma, same question to you.
Well, first of all, Chisaki, I think your mom should be all of our therapists. Because
I keep telling her to write a book. She keeps saying her whole thing is love the child you have. She's be on the journey. I'm like, just write a book, Mom. But anyway, continue, Huma.
It's the best advice. And the other person who gives me really good advice is my own mother. And I think about professionally how I failed my way into all the positions I'm in right now. I remember just growing up in Saudi Arabia and applying to my parents' alma mater where all my cousins went, thinking, okay, I'm going to be early decision at the University of Pennsylvania, and rejected immediately, and ending up in Washington, D.C., would never have gotten the internship in the White House if I hadn't done that. And then when I applied for the internship in the White House, I didn't get the gig I wanted. I really wanted to be Mike McCurry's intern. I was rejected from the press office. I was placed in the First Lady's policy office. I thought it was the worst thing ever. And I remember calling my mother on those brick cell phones and telling her how disappointed I was. I wouldn't be interning for Mike McCurry, who was then the White House press secretary. And she says, well, sometimes plan A doesn't work out, but, plan B might turn out to be okay for you. And sure enough, plan B worked out more than okay. It turned out pretty fantastic for me. And then even showing up here on this amazing show with the three of you, totally by happenstance. I go to a conference I never thought I would end up speaking at. Mika sees me at the Forbes, 30/50 summit, and then says, you should do more of this, and, set me on this journey. And so professionally, I feel like I've had so many experiences. And then obviously in my personal life, I am somebody who unfortunately lived her marriage in public, and both the highs and the lows, and the complete abject failure of a marriage in public. And when you're in it, you feel like you're the only person in the world going through it. You're trying to understand it, trying to unpack it. I was going through all of those things. And as I've shared with a lot of people, I'm one of those people. I waited for the right person. I was, Simone's baby. I waited until I was 35, got married at 35. And I thought, I was living this fairy tale. And within 7 months, everything had fallen apart. I was not even 12 weeks pregnant, and the New York Times reported I was pregnant. And I think at the time, the sort of the instability, the not knowing who you can trust and share stories with, to go through all of that trauma in that moment felt so destabilizing, so just unfair in that moment. And I will tell you, the best therapy I had was writing my book. And when it came out in November 2021, I remember the first day of interviews. After I went on with Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show, and I was like terrified. It was freezing. I was shaking. I, could barely, process what I was saying. But then going to an interview 2 hours later, and when I walked off set, another anchor grabbed me and then shared her story of her marriage, which had fallen apart in a very similar way. And that was day one of now what I believe is thousands of women who I've just been in communication with, and realize that it is, we're all on this journey of partnerships, relationships. Some work, some don't. And I don't know if we have to all go through something for a purpose. I felt like I went through that. If that purpose was helping one other woman or one other person through their own hard times in their relationships, it was worth it to share my story, and to do it authentically, and to do it really with a sense of, I almost want to say joy, because if you can get up in the morning and say it's going to get better tomorrow, and help somebody else believe that, that does give me joy. So here I am.
Well, just before you close, Jen, Huma wasn't, she wasn't exaggerating when she said she sort of failed and fell into things, because at her engagement party, Hillary Clinton was talking about Huma as a White House intern, and she goes, Huma was a mess. So,
couldn't hear her.
Confirmation.
She didn't speak.
There you
All
go.
true.
Oh my God. I love that. I've never seen Huma be a mess, but that is, I love hearing that for some reason. Anyway, this was such a great conversation. It was therapeutic for me. I hope you all felt it was therapeutic for you too.
Yes.
Mika Brzezinski, Simone Sanders Townsend, Huma Abedin, thank you so much. We want to continue this conversation on Know Your Values social channels. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram, and send us a message on how you are dealing with setback, whether it be grappling with the results of the election or something else in your personal or professional life. That does it for Morning Mika. We'll see you again soon on YouTube and Peacock.